Hi everybody, welcome. It's Scarlet Pete's Self-Sufficiency. You join me here in a traditional Hungarian farmhouse and farmyard, and I've just been and had a quick look round and I thought you really need to see it. This is the epitome to me of greenness. This whole house has been made from sustainable green materials. We've got mud walls, we've got wood, we've got a roof that's made from rush or reed grown locally. It's just a stunning, well thought out, amazing thing. Do you want to come inside and have a look? There's the well where they'd have drawn the water from. I think that must be a mulberry tree. Those are the buildings, the outdoor buildings. Anyhow, let's get in this house and have a look. Lovely wooden picket fencing. Look at that amazing roof. Thatched. All the old things they would have used. The vineyard items, so there's a wine press. There's the big baskets for probably using to throw the wheat to get the, what's it called, winnowing, I think. That's a very typical traditional seat. A saw. Makes sense that they had everything hanging around ready to use. Got a mint bed there. Let's go and have a look inside. They obviously wanted good luck because they've got the horseshoe above the door. And this is the kitchen. What a kitchen. Look at this. Here you've got the bread dough bath, which would also be used to salt hams and bacon in. It's got a round bottom, so it has to have a rounded stand to stand on. That there is the biggest slicing mandolin I've ever seen for cabbages. There's a small dough bath there, another type of mandolin, and some traditional pottery, a potato ricer. There's probably a juicer there, a colander. This would be what they would make the butter in. And there's the old fire, which goes up the wall, along the ceiling, and into the chimney. And can you see those metal bars up there? Those metal bars were probably what they used for hanging their salted beef, or their bacon to smoke, etc., etc. So totally practical kitchen. So there's the oven. And then here, I haven't seen this in Hungarian houses before. I've seen it in Indian properties. They build a little fire under here and they've got their rings. It's like your gas ring. That's where they'd be boiling things in their saucepan. A bit different to the Welsh traditional houses also that I know of. We've got a selection of pottery here. Beautiful pottery. And I just love that inset part of the walls there. I just find this all so inspiring, thinking, I want a place like this. I don't want a modern house. For the bread oven, we've got the wooden spades that would take the bread out. You see these bits here? That's what goes over the bath to hold, hang on, the bread bath. That would go across the bread bath and that would put a cloth over it. That would hold the cloth over to keep the flies off. We've got a grater here, an old-fashioned grater that you'd sit on and use. A water urn. Slightly more modern items here. A flour sift of different types. Kettle and the coffee grinder. A milk churn. And that's probably from a sausage stuffing. Oh, there we go. A sausage stuffer, or kolbász in Hungarian. Got a big pan. and that's a gourd that would be grown in the gardens that can be scooped out and made into a flour scoop. And here we just see there is another fireplace and a cooking area with the chimney, and the smoke goes up the wall and into the roof and exits the ceiling through the chimney. Various basketry items there, probably all grown, the wicker and the raffeta here, all of that would have been grown locally on the farm. Let's go and have a look at the main area here where you walk in. As you walk through the door, there's somewhere to hang the clothes up, a mirror to check oneself out. Maybe they're going out for their Sunday best and they need to look really nice. Hello. They've got the wash items here. A watering can. And this here is a lard safe where they'd put all the lard and dripping from cooking. I think that's called a boot stall that you pull your boots off with. And then there's a bit of artwork as well, some things they've grown in the garden. That probably has a meaning from the harvest. The corn dollies all have different meanings and luck symbols. That's an old-fashioned lamp. A large flour sieve and another bath for salting. Going through, look at the floors. These are made from mud, manure and milk. Makes a fantastic floor, a hard floor. So this is their main room. That's the back of the cooking area. We've got a fire. Once again, it would have a hot plate on to warm the iron or the bed pans, whatever they're going to use to heat the bed. Not as in a bed pan, but there's a word for it which I've forgotten what it's called. They've got their boots hanging up to keep the mice out of it, I would imagine. Makes sense, doesn't it? And then some traditional farmers' wear. There's their coat, keep them nice and warm, woolen. A sheepskin jacket. They always have these hats. And there's the winter herdsman's sheep garment. It goes right down to their feet to keep them nice and warm. Very simple with their furniture, but it looks pretty enough to me. There's a chest to keep probably blankets and winter clothing safe, a spinning wheel, an old-fashioned treadle sewing machine, the clock. That's a very old chest there to put their clothes in, an old wardrobe. I just have to have a look inside. And there we go, they've got their bedding inside. And clothing. The house is made out of traditional wood and mud. And there you can see that's how this roof's made. There's reeds tapped over some wood and then mud's daubed on. Costume. More lamps. Oil lamps that possibly had poppy seed oil in them to burn. To make the seat comfortable, they've got a couple of sheepskin rugs. Makes sense. Tables laid. Wooden seats. I'm surprised at that. I thought they would have possibly a raffia or woven seat, but it hasn't. Here we have the old baby's crib, cot, and it rocks. A lot of religious symbolism, always. Very comfortable looking bed. I wonder if that's the chamber pot. Rocking the baby. Definitely feathers in that. And as we walk through now, go into the bedroom. Don't know how you feel about this. Let me know in the comments, but to me, this is sheer luxury. I love it. I could live like this today. I wouldn't fancy the wooden clogs though. They look rather large, so I'm wondering if they would have a leather shoe inside and then that to protect their feet, maybe? There's the fireplace. That would need to be piped into the chimney. That would be a more modern thing. And here again you can see the way that roofing is put together. Just a few items of furniture. Essential, I'm sure. Not too much. Very comfortable bed. Table, the Hungarian colours. Maybe these were the people that lived here, who knows? They obviously used candles. And an old instrument to play. Their wash basin for morning, water and wash basin. A more modern lamp. Now, to me, that's the height of luxury. Just imagine having been out all day long in the fields, cooking, preparing, whatever the job's been, whether it's the lady or the man. You want to come in and you want to get snuggled up, warm and cuddly in bed. Okay, they weren't cuddling together by the looks of it, but those duvets look so warm. There's 2 sets of duvets on each bed, I've noticed. To me, coming to work in this kitchen, it's just beautiful. I would enjoy being in this kitchen. Maybe I'd like a few more work surfaces. How about you? I've just noticed one thing too here in the doorway. These are like brands that they would have used on the sheep. They might be branding or they might be with the colour in for the sheep to say who the sheep belong to. Lastly, looking down at the floor, you can see how the floor's made. It's got a lot of fibre in it. It's definitely mud and you can see the fibres in it. There's a nice touch too. A bit of lavender to keep the house smelling nice. That's the inside of the house. Would you like to come and see the farmyard now? Come on, let's go see what it would be like to have to go work those animals and go through the door, outside. The kitchen garden here. They've got a good fence to stop the animals and chickens getting in. Got some of the corn ripening, probably that they'd want to put in the garden next year, and these would be the chilies, but they've gone and lost their colour now. So the pig shed, the pigsty, and the corn rick is there. And it's quite sensible. All the corn from the summer would be stored up there, and the pigs, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 sties there. So 6 sties for the pigs, and the corn would be just thrown in from the top or collected at the end. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's see, are there any pigs in here? We've got a cool area. We've got a drinking trough. Here we've got a few pigs. Hello piggies. Those ones are chilling out over there. We've got something interesting you're eating there. They've been cut a bit of grass to eat. Now these are large whites and mixed breeds, but in the old days they would have had Hungarian mangalitsa, which is like a furry, hairy pig with up to 6 inches long of hair on their bodies, and they would create a lot of lard. And working the farm, people would need a lot of lard to keep themselves warm. It's a fuel for their bodies. Up the corner here are the chickens. So the chickens are there. Let's have a look at what they've got on the walls now. Here's the old barns where the animals and cows would be kept. And this here is a cow yoke for them working, the oxen that would be working the land. There'd be a cow or an ox on each side, which surely would get eaten at some point when the males have got big enough. There's the doors to go in, and we've got an open window so we can have a look inside to see how the animals were kept. There's another working thing for the ox. Going in through the window and into the cool. Immediately the cool hits you because you're talking of a 2-foot wooden wall here, and an insulated mud roof above those wooden slats. That's the mangers there where the cows would eat. And right in the centre of it all, you've got the well where the water would be drawn probably a couple of times a day and the animals let out to eat and drink in the centre yard, I would imagine. A good sized fence, and then out into the outer yard. Here we've got the Sunday best carriage. Well, it was once upon a time. We've got a seeding drilling machine. Let's see how close I can get to that to show you. That was pulled possibly by horses or by oxen. There's the seed drill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 to 12 drills it would give. Quite large wheels. The seed goes in the top. The wheel spins around and has a gear on, which allows seeds to dribble out down into the pipes, which cut. There's a cutting blade there at the front, which cut a hole in the soil, and at the back allow one seed to drop out every so many inches. Right, what have we got here? This would be a harvesting trailer, so this would either have hay or straw on it, wheat. Also maybe they might put on it some muck to take somewhere, or some logs. Got a couple of spare wheels. Once again, the ceiling and the roof here is made of green materials, wood and a thatch, grown locally. What have we got here? We've got a harvest rake, some more wheels. This here is like for processing, cutting and chopping up chaff. It's hand operated, this one. Turn the big large wheel, which turns the gearage, which makes this munching system pull in slowly like that the corn stalk or the wheat, the chaff, whatever you want to make. It goes through that gear system, and the other side is a knife which chop, 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 chop. Here we've got a pig crate. This is a more modern version of one, but when you need to handle a big boar or carry pigs to be slaughtered, this is what they would use. They open the door, put some food inside, let the pig think he's going out of the pigsty, but the door closes the other end and closes once he's in. Another Sunday best carriage. What a sweet one this one is. It's got a little turntable there, so it's fully turnable everywhere. Comfortable seats. How sweet. And at the back here, wow, I have never seen such a thing. A wooden horse-drawn or oxen-drawn roller to roll the crop, the freshly tilled soil after you've seed laid. And here we have got, let's have a look, what is this? I'm not sure. It seems to have some sort of flattening device. Levelling and flattening, it looks like. A grater for cabbage or sugar beets for the animals. More modern scales, but they had old-fashioned versions of those. This is quite a nice barn to own. And the well is a pole well where they would put down the well, the water on the end of the chain and pole, and the weight of the long beam helps make it much easier to draw up. Then into the outer yard they've got the animals. They've got cattle in here, Hungarian long-horned cattle. Here we've got a very old looking sled bottom. This could have maybe been used in the winter to pull logs in, or it could have had something else on the top. We've got here, this would be pulled along, and this would have like it's got a hoe, it's a hoeing system, digging and hoeing. Here we've got another carriage to bring home produce in, and another one. A very old, very old, nearly falling to pieces carriage. Slightly more modern, I would say this is probably from 100 years ago. This is a seed drill, maybe a bit older, what I would call Victorian, but they didn't have Queen Victoria here, but from that Victorian era, a larger seed drill. This looks like a plough. Yep, definitely a plough. The man would stand at the back and hold this upright while the animals tow it along. Not easy to do. My neighbour still uses one to this very day. If you'd like to see him using it and a video of how he does it with his horses, give me a comment below and I can arrange that. Right, let's go find the horse stable yard. Nice old wooden gates. This is the feeding area for the cattle in the winter. Into the stable. This is a traditional stable where the horses are tied and stood in a smallish area, yes, but just imagine in the old days these horses would have been out all day long working the fields, and all they want to do is come in, put their head down in that manger, eat their food, eat some hay, hello old boy, and lay down. Now you might think this looks a bit dangerous, but I will show you a few of the safety measures they've got. There's a rope and ring, so if anything went wrong this could be unhooked very quickly here. And in a disaster, if the horse was kicking like mad, that would just snap. Don't listen, you mustn't think about kicking. Hello. Good boy. This is a nonius. And here's another nonius. Earlier when I came in, this whole stable was full of horses resting in between the show that's just gone on. So this is where the working horses would come and have their well-deserved rest after working in the fields and a cool down. And yes, it is nice and cool in here. Shall I show you those working horses now? A quick little show of them. Just going to take you over to the main arena where you're going to see a demonstration of Hungarian horsemanship. They would use horses in the old days to round up the cattle. Right, so we just battle through the crowds. This is no longer old times, this is modern we've come to now, to show you the working horses. Here comes the Hungarian cowboys. And here we have a traditional Hungarian costume. Off he goes. He's riding with a saddle that has no girth on. If you want to know more about this, check out my other videos because I've got some detailed videos on the show. And here we have an amazing Hungarian horse in Hungarian traditional costume, Jonapot. And his saddle, or nyereg, has no girth, which is what I was trying to explain to you earlier. Or is he riding absolutely bareback? It's difficult to see. Nyereg nélkül, nem? Nyereg nélkül. So he's got no saddle on at all. Milyen fajta ló? So it's a Hungarian half-blood horse in traditional costume. He's just showing a child there is no saddle under there. And there's no trousers either, I just saw. Lovely costume. And off he goes to do his demonstration. My daughter tells me he's the best horseman here. And here we are in another stable. So I hope you enjoyed that little walk around and the video. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, give me a comment so I know you're there. Bye bye.